Right. Now, in my immortal plan to attempt, and I do mean attempt, to speed things up in the morning, because currently it's taking me about 3 hours to get ready for school, and that's too many hours. So I know that for those of you who are at school, it just feels like we're doing shittier work than normal. And for those of you who are at home, you'll be feeling like you're doing nowhere near as much work as normal. So I thought that I would try and explain it I'll try and explain it anyway. So if you're at home, the theory goes that we don't know, that's we teachers, we don't know if you're home isolating or if you're home sick or how sick you are, etc. So the work that's being set online isn't necessarily as much as we would expect if you were at school. Now, if you're at school, you're certainly getting more than you are getting online. But the amount of time it takes to set everything to be online is just ridiculous. And, I know that I'm pretty onto it when it comes to either finding stuff on the internet or filming things or just having stuff on, I've got all my Google qualifications and know what I'm doing with the classroom, etc. And for a lot of your teachers, they're not in such a privileged position. And they have more things to actually juggle during the day. I should say, let's face it, what do I really have to do during the day? Not die. That's pretty much it. And I'm still knackered. Just completely knackered. I mean, some of it's going to be that everything that we did this week is completely 100% new, not just for you, but for me. So to try and dig into the play to a level where I feel like I can challenge your thoughts on it, it's a struggle. I'm hoping that enough of you saw it to warrant the amount of money we spent on it. I think it was worth it. I do hope that anyone who's still got access and hasn't seen it sees it over the course of the day, because it is really, really good. Particularly for an understanding of different ways of doing things, because we're going to be trying for different ways of doing things later on when things get back to normal. Anyway, back to the first point. So you've got less work online than you would normally have if you were in class, because at the moment everything's on pause. There's basically the directive from above that we're not assessing at the moment because it's not normal, and that we need to catch everybody up. So if you're at home or if you're at school, nobody's being disadvantaged. But it does mean that if you're self-isolating and you're well, it will feel like you have nowhere near enough work. Because if we put too much work up online, anyone who's sick will feel like they're falling behind, and that's no good either. And if you're at school, you'll be feeling like, well, why am I not working on my assessment? And it's kind of because we're having to buy the time from somewhere. So stuff that we would be doing later on in the year, we're kind of bringing forward as much as possible. Anyway, what are we up to for today? Which for you is today and for me is tomorrow, so Friday. Level 1s, you don't have class, but I will address this one. I have been posting every day, even though you don't necessarily have the class. And the reason for that is that all of my senior drama classes are multi-level. So there are level 1s in all of the classes, there's level 2s in all the classes, there's level 3s in all the classes. If you think one of them might not have any level 1s, but that's the exception. So in order to make sure that everybody gets work on the day that they have class, I've just posted it every day. So my apologies to anyone who feels like I'm making you do more drama work than you wanted to do, because I've put something up on the day that you don't have class. It's mostly because there are people who are your year level who have class on that day, and it's just the easiest way in my head to make sure everybody's got something so that everybody has stuff. Yeah. So that's that one. So tomorrow, Friday, today, whenever you're watching it, Friday, is the last day we're going to be thinking about a stab in the dark for a while. Level 1s, you don't have class, but I'm going to post the stuff that we talked about today so that you can have a read of it and that sort of thing. Level 2s, we have our Google Meet class, and we're going to hopefully have a really cool conversation, because I have thoroughly enjoyed the conversations we've all had so far. We've done the history of theatre with the juniors, with year 11s. We've done some really interesting discussion about expressionism and film noir with the year 13s, even though it would have been better if I had taught you all week, or you'd actually done the work or watched the play. But yeah, no, definitely. Level 2s and level 1s, thank you. You've done so much work this week, and you've done a lot of thinking, and my apologies for anybody I put to sleep by just ranting. But it was good for my brain, even if it's so tiring. So, again, I'm starting to drift. I cooked dinner. Okay, I made burgers. Made burgers last night as well. But this is even more lazy because it's like leftovers from burgers. So it's just like use up the stuff that wasn't used up on Wednesday. Just have a wee nap. And then I'll go back to the instructions. I knew I should have done sitting up because this is a stupid idea. Nobody should be doing horizontal videos. So tired. Right, focus. Pulling it together. So level 2s, we've got our Google Meet. If you go along to the level 2 link, now those, if you're at home, if you are a level 3 and you are at home, send me an email and I will make sure that you get the link in the classroom. Right? Yeah, so we'll go from there. If you are in my level 3 class, we're period 5. I am well aware that period 5 is not going to be a quality time for learning for any of you. So that will be a time where we can either have a discussion or you can work on Shakespeare. And we're going to go back to that. So next week, we are back to working on the 5-minute scenes. It does mean that anybody who's at home, you aren't going to be able to rehearse with anybody, but you are going to be able to go over your lines, you're going to be able to check your paperwork and all that kind of stuff. There's still the standard that's up there as the extra one, and that's available for everybody, whether you're at school or if you're at home. So that extra standard where you're just looking at Romeo and Juliet if you're a year 11, or if you're a year 12, comparing Much Ado About Nothing with the play that you're studying. Those can be worked on all semester if you're at home or if you're at school and your group's away. So just chug on through there. The instructions are on the slides with what you need to do. And then if you need a hand, sing out at some point. I know it's difficult to sing out and ask a question if you're at home and I'm at school and we haven't had a chance to go over it in person, but just try and send me a detailed email as to what your question is. Or use the comment function on Google, where, you know, the one where you click comment and then you go plus and then you put in my email address, and that way it'll send me a notification that you've tagged me in a comment on your work. Fingers crossed, all going well, that should work if the admin guys haven't tutted with the settings. Yeah, but do send me an email if you're at home and you're confused, or if you're at home and you're bored. Mostly I'm going to try and keep up with the videos, even though this is the only piece of video there's going to be in this particular video, because it's just been too much to try and film anything today, I tell you. Oh, I feel like I've been hit by a brick wall. And I still have to go and do a whole stack more prep work for class tomorrow. And we don't even want to talk about how far behind I am with boring teacher jobs that have to be done, but those are due at the end of term, and I'm just avoiding the problem. I'm just ignoring it, making it go away in my head until I've got mental space to do it. Or the last minute, because I'm very productive at the last minute. Also, I don't really feel like doing it, so there's that. Ah, the fly. Ah, how annoying. Right, so last day of Stab in the Dark, and then next week we're back to Shakespeare. I'm still COVID negative. I feel like death. But I feel like death because I think I'm just knackered, as opposed to I'm sick. Yeah. So expect me at school tomorrow. I'm sick of putting things up my nose, but we'll see how we go. Hopefully we've got most of us next week. We shall see. If not, it's not the end of the world. Nothing much is changing. We're just going to do Shakespeare again rather than do the play or anything else different, because I don't want to confuse too many things. I don't want to start and move on to the next standard. I don't want to do any of that stuff. So we're just going to plug on with Shakespeare as best we can. If you are one of my level 3s, mostly you fellas have been at school. So I'm not too worried about the fact that the standard that you've got to work on at home is awful. Like, it's just, you've got to have such an in-depth knowledge of all the things. Yeah. And the information that's there is basically, you need to know the entire history of theatre and theatre practitioners in order to start the standard. Yeah. So it's kind of mental. Anyway, I will now go and check my laundry and probably clean the kitchen and put on the dishwasher and then be up for a few more hours doing schoolwork. But I'm generally hoping that I can just get this uploaded and ready to go for tomorrow, so that that's one less thing that I have to do in the morning. And then I can just get up, have a glass of water, go for a run, be ready for the day. That would be good. Yeah. We'll just go with that. And then I'm going to sleep all weekend. That's the dream. I'm probably not going to sleep all weekend. What I would really like is the weekend to be super still and super quiet and get to go for a kayak. And then another kayak. And then another kayak. And then another kayak. That'd be great. A 4-day weekend of paddling. It's not going to happen, but I can dream. I can dream. Anyway, I've rabbited on. This was only going to be a 2-minute video, and I've realised that we're at 12 minutes already, so there's that. Ernesto's over there. He's out of reach. So normally I try and put him in the corner of the video, but a couple of times I've missed him, and he's been well out of the corner of the video. All right, take care. And hopefully you're watching the videos, and hopefully it makes sense, and then hopefully you know what's going on. And hopefully you've enjoyed watching a puppet murder, because I've enjoyed watching a puppet murder and thinking about a puppet murder, and I really miss going to see live theatre that's actually edgy and good and different. So I can't wait until we start making stuff again and performing to an audience and hearing the applause. Oh, Lady Gaga, you're so right. Anyway, we're now approaching on 13 minutes, and if I don't stop recording, it will be 13 minutes. Have a nice Friday, she says from the past, and I'll see you at school, unless you're sick and dying of COVID, in which case, stay away, and I'll see you when you get back. Oh, and Shakespeare at lunch. Well done, Ants and Cleo. Loving the work that's going on there. That scene's going to be amazing. Much ado. Pull your socks up. Ants and Cleo is looking great. All right. Cheers.